like you're on the brink of giving up while dating because you're feeling like it's taking forever for you to find that person that you're supposed to be with, I'm here to reassure you that that is actually perfectly fine, and that's actually a good sign, and why it takes longer for women with high standards to actually find a partner. In this video, I'm gonna be giving you 5 things to look for in a man when dating and why it's going to take longer for you. I feel like there is just so much information right now on dating, what you should look for, what you shouldn't look for, and to be honest, a lot of it I feel like is financially driven. And while that is amazing, especially if that's something that you're looking for, financial security, great. However, if you only focus on that while dating, you might end up in a very miserable situation because there's a lot of women who get married and are miserable, but their bills are paid. So if you don't want to be one of those women, I suggest that you look out for other things outside of finances when dating and outside of just connection when dating, so that you can have something that is going to last a very long time. As I've mentioned before, it's going to take longer, and that is completely fine because you are looking for the 1% of men. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you are probably the 1% of women. And if you feel like you're someone who in the past hasn't had very high standards for dating and haven't actually held yourself accountable, this video is also for you. This is a reminder that you are worthy, and anything that you want, you are capable of having, but it is going to require you having standards, having boundaries, and actually holding yourself to those things as well. The first thing that I want to preface before even starting this video is that if you have requirements for what you're looking for in a man, also realize that men are going to have requirements in what they're looking for in a woman. So just make sure that if you're looking for something in a man, that you are his equal in everything that you're looking for as well. So that way, when you're dating, you're equally yoked. That is one of the biggest things when dating, is that a lot of people want something that is actually not within their realm of getting because they haven't either become that person that they're looking for yet, or they are refusing to understand that they too have to be exactly what they're looking for in order to attract the thing that they're actually looking for. So I really want you to keep that in mind while you're watching this video, is please don't have expectations to find something that you yourself are already not. If you want some ideas and suggestions on how to develop the kind of person that you are, look back at some of my other videos, because again, anything that you want in this life, you have to be a match for. Whenever you're dating, the biggest thing that you want to make sure that you keep in mind is intention. Whenever you start to date, you have to realize that there's an intention behind while I'm dating. If you're looking for short term, understand that your intention is short term, and that allows you to decide what the foundation of things that you're looking for in a man is. If you're looking for long term, or you're dating intentionally for marriage, you also have to keep in mind that there are certain things that you're going to need this man to bring to the table, because if you're looking for a husband, you want to make sure that the qualities that this man has are those things that you want in your husband. Let's get into this video. I feel like I've already done too much talking. Number 1, when you are dating, one thing that you want to look for that is going to be such a green flag is consistency. Now, men are only as good as their actions. They're not actually as good as their word. So while men sometimes make promises that they're going to do something, they say that they're going to fulfill some kind of thing for you, and that pulls on your heartstrings, do not believe it until you see consistent action. Someone who has consistency is actually making an active investment towards whatever situation or relationship that you guys are heading in, and that is very important. So you want to make sure that their actions are consistent and not their words. And when I say consistent, it means that when they say they're going to do something, they actually show up and do that, and that there is not a lot of gaps in communication, and if there are, there's understanding as to why there is gaps. The second thing that you want to look for in a man that is going to be such a green flag is urgency. This can look something like when a man makes contact with you, whether he DMs you on Instagram, whether you meet in person, there's a sense of urgency to see you the next time or set up a date in order to see you. A man who is really into you will always have the intention to know when he's going to see you next, and is going to make time to put you into his calendar and make sure that you can put him into his calendar. If you have a date with a man and there's no urgency to see you next, and he wants to just text you, and maybe you guys call each other every once in a while, that might be something to be aware of, that there is no sense of urgency to either develop this relationship or situation or get to know you face to face, which is very important when you're deciding to give someone your time and to be in a relationship with said person. Now, I'm giving these tips with the automatic assumption that you are dating intentionally to find a husband or a long-term partner. So let's just go ahead and tailor all these responses to you're looking for a long-term partner or you're looking for a husband. The reason that urgency is also important is because this man knows exactly what he wants. And as I said, is when you're going into dating, to be really clear to know what you want as well. So if you know what you want, the man also has to know what he wants. If there's a man who's coming into this situation who has met you and they're like, oh, I don't actually know what I'm looking for, I know when I'll see it, that is a red flag, because a lot of men with urgency know exactly what kind of woman they're looking for, know know exactly what to see, know exactly how to approach them, and know exactly the green flags for himself, just like you do. In urgency, there's also a sense of decisiveness. Like I'm saying, you know what you're looking for in a man, so this same man also has to know what he's looking for in a woman, and he will know when he sees it. And if he needs time to see it, that is going to look like a series of dates. That's going to look like him intentionally asking you questions. That is going to look like him following up to see you in person as often as possible, so he can decipher whether or not you are the person that he's looking for, and you can decide whether or not he's the person that you're looking for. I find it hard to believe that a man can talk to you for 6 months, text you here and there, see you maybe once a month, and genuinely think that that is the person who is going to be your husband, unless there's something going on inside of his life that you guys are on the same page about. I still feel like at that point, that is a red flag if a man is taking too long to decide whether or not he wants to consistently see you. The third thing that is really important, just for human nature, but also for women who are dating intentionally to find a partner and a husband, it is you need to find a man who has a good foundation. A foundation looks like something, let's give an example, religion. A man who has some kind of moral compass that points him in the direction of, yes, I should do this, and no, I shouldn't do that. A foundation is very important, because if you are just coming into a relationship and saying things have to be this way just because I said so, that is not a good enough indication that you actually know why you feel that way. People who have a religion, like myself, I'm a Christian, I follow the Bible, I have a really great moral compass because the Bible is a great guide point, a great guidebook for your highest form of living. So that way, if I'm saying, no, I don't want to engage in this kind of activity, or no, I feel this way about something, it is coming from a very strong foundation of, this is probably the best way for me to live my life, and this is why I'm making these decisions. If a man does not have a foundation like a religion or something similar, some kind of moral compass that he follows, it might be a red flag in the future for you, because if the man is going to be the leader of a relationship, or you guys are going to be working hand in hand, he has to have some kind of foundation in which he makes decisions on for both you and him. Just to reiterate, if a man says simply because I said so, that might be a little bit of a red flag. Where are you getting this said so for? That might lead you and set you up for a relationship that is very controlling, and you might not actually be on the same page or understand why this man is making decisions like this in his life and in your life as well. Whenever you're dating for marriage, you have to think that this person is going to be an extension of yourself. You definitely want to make sure that there's a great foundation in place, especially if you're watching these videos, if you're working on yourself, developing yourself so that you yourself has a great foundation. It is really hard to date someone that is not equally yoked, especially when it comes to religion. Religion is one of those things that I believe that I could oversee when I was dating, and in the past I've dated people from other religions and even someone without religion, and I found it very hard for us to get on the same page and understand where each other was coming from. Now, I think even having similar religions is really important, because at least you can understand where you guys are coming from. But for a person to date a non-religious person who's not willing to understand religion and is not open to understanding religion, it could lead to a problem in raising your children, as well as you guys seeing things eye to eye in your relationship, and could definitely be a big problem down the road. Fourth thing to look for, and I think this is one of the most important things, and that is discipline. When you show up and you're doing things consistently in your life, you want a man who is going to match that energy. A man who is not disciplined cannot actually have any control over his life. The highest form of self-love is discipline. It is all the things that you will and won't do. If a man does not have discipline enough to get up at a certain time in the morning when he says he does, or take care of his body in the way that he says he wants to take care of his body, what makes you think that he's going to be able to lead you in the relationship, be faithful, be loyal, and actually do the things that he needs to do in the relationship that is going to make you guys rise above whatever level you are right now? Genuinely. Like, I get very concerned when a man has a lack of discipline, and it's very unattractive to me. So I can understand that a woman who thinks the way I do and has waited so long to be with a man and has waited so long to have your partner, I can find that it'd probably be unattractive to you as well. There's a quote that essentially says, a man that can control himself can control the world. How can you control anything in your environment if you have not even mastered yourself? Discipline is by far one of the most important things for any human beings to have, but also when dating. So when you're dating, just pay close attention that this man is disciplined, that this man understands why he's doing the things that he does. This man is doing the things that he says that he's going to do, and this man follows some kind of code of ethics that he puts himself before the things of this world. I'm not gonna lie, I used to date the kind of men that they would drink before they had important meetings, they would drink before they had sports games, they would stay up really late and, regret it the next day. If I'm seeing someone consistently have those habits, it kind of shows there's a lack of discipline there. And if I'm more disciplined than my partner, we're not going to be equally yoked. It's not going to be this thing where I'm super disciplined and I'm dating someone who isn't super disciplined. In the long term, it's not going to work out. So just consider those things for yourself. If you're very disciplined and you're very regimented, you also might want to find a partner who is disciplined. Even if they're not on your level as far as discipline and you guys want different things, you just have to be careful because discipline is also a foundational factor in the success of a relationship. If a man cannot stop himself from eating a bag of Cheetos, do you think he's going to stop himself from DMing that girl whenever he's frustrated with you or whenever he's feeling vulnerable? Just food for thought. I don't know, just food for thought. These are real things that you have to think about. This is the man that you're going to be marrying potentially. This is the man that you're going to want to raise your children. If he doesn't have disciplines over the small things, do you think that he's going to have discipline over the big things? This is all just food for thought. It's all theoretical. I don't know. The last thing is that you want to make sure that someone who is coming into a relationship with you or into contact with you is a healed individual. This can be shown through emotional maturity and emotional availability. A lot of people who don't have a lot of emotional availability, they are holding on to trauma of some sort. They are not fully healed. And the thing is, yes, people can heal through meeting their partners. There have definitely been instances of, oh, I met this person and they changed my life for the better. They saw the broken parts of me and they fixed it. And that is amazing, especially if it just happens like that. But in a lot of situations, it doesn't. A lot of situations, you have a healed individual who has done the work, who has set the standard, and who is emotionally available. And then you have the person who is not emotionally available, who is traumatized, and that comes off in a lot of negative actions that they will perform throughout the entirety of that relationship. If you put a healed person with a traumatized person, the healed person is going to carry the weight of the traumatized person throughout the entire relationship. And there's going to be this toxic cycle of I'm trying to help you and I'm trying to abuse you. Because someone who is traumatized and recognizes that someone is healed, they are going to use you as a crutch for themselves, as an excuse for themselves, and it's going to do nothing but drain you. Not to be cryptic, but it's like a parasite. Trauma comes out in the way in which they treat you, in which they treat themselves, in which they treat others around them. It is something that has to be broken. Trauma has to be healed in order to love people the way that they deserve to be loved, and in order to see the world in a way that isn't from a place of pain. This is the thing about dating. If you have a mother wound, you are gonna pick specific women who fill that void that you're missing. And if you have a father wound as a female or even as a male, you are going to find someone who is filling all the gaps to what you're missing. And the problem with that is that you are pacifying some unhealed part of you, which doesn't mean that you're actually finding the partner that's going to suit you. Because right now you're only finding a partner based on the wound that you're trying to soothe, when in reality, that wound is not actually you. Wounds are something that we have inside of ourselves, that part of you that just feels like, oh, I have to have this person because this happened to me. Or maybe you're not even aware that you have that wound, but that is not really who you are. And one day, if you pick that partner based on your wound, you're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna say, who is this person next to me? Why did I pick this person? This person treats me like XYZ, but the reason I picked this person is because, oh, my father used to do this, or my mother wasn't around. And then you realize that you were just making up for something that you were missing as a child or missing as an adult, and you were pacifying that wound. But if that wound is no longer there, that partner is no longer going to be necessary in your reality. So if you want to set yourself up for success, recognize your wounds and make sure you're not dating from a place of that wound, of that lack, of that emptiness, of that needing to pacify. So that way you're setting yourself up for a long-term relationship that is built on a foundation of healing. This list seems fairly simple. However, there's a lot of foundational things, and this video was essentially made so that you can start looking for certain things in a certain way and you can start asking questions. One of the most important questions that I ask the men I date is, what is your relationship like with your father? Because their relationship with their father will tell you the kind of childhood and upbringing and the image of masculinity and the image of strength that they have based on what their situation is. And it can kind of tell you where they are as a human being, and you can see that through their actions as well. But just knowing what to look for foundationally is going to help you ask better questions. It's going to help you seek the red flags. It's going to help you see the green flags. And now there's so many other things that you're going to want to consider in a relationship, but if these core foundational things aren't there, it might not lead to the long-lasting relationship that you want. And I also want to reiterate, it is going to take longer because it takes longer to find those single individuals who have done done the work. But part of this is we want to elevate and we want to be our best selves. So we also want to find partners that are their best selves because we want to be equally yoked and we want to put like with like. So if you're frustrated as to why you're not married yet, while all your friends are getting married, it can be very easy to find a partner. Any woman can find a partner. Tomorrow, if I wanted to find a partner, I could find someone who could marry me, but am I actually going to like that person? Is that person going to be equally yoked? And is that the person that God intended for me? The reason that God sometimes makes you wait is because you haven't become the person yet that that person needs you to be, or the person that you're meant to be with hasn't become the person that they need to be yet for you either. So if you're waiting, it's fine. Waiting is not punishment. Patience is not punishment. God is not doing this to punish you. God is doing this to develop you. God is doing this so that you can get married once, or you can have that great relationship once, and you aren't in a situation where you found a partner super early, you got together, you dated, maybe you had a kid, maybe you got married, and then you guys are separating and leaving each other, and now you're having to do it all over again. But now when you're much older, now when you're more frustrated, now when your mind's not as fresh and open. So just consider all these things that, yeah, it might take longer to find that one person that you're looking for, but you're looking for one person in multiple millions of individuals. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer. And sometimes your person might not be in your direct community. So it's going to take you going to a place that God has already predetermined to meet said person. And maybe that's not until a year from now when you take that trip to Monaco. Or maybe it's not a year from now when you have a business trip in Wisconsin and the person that you're supposed to be with is at that same conference as you. So there's patience that needs to be had. And there's also the ability to recognize what you're looking for. So anyone who hasn't even made a list of the things that you need, the characteristics that you're looking for in a man, I really encourage you to write those down. And I'm not talking about needs to be 6'4", needs to be really attractive, needs to have $100,000 in their bank account. I'm not talking about that criteria. I'm talking about the foundation of what that man is supposed to have at the bare minimum. And then everything else is going to be supplementary to whatever that list is. And you'll know because you'll feel it, but then you'll also see the green flags in conjunction with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I loved making this video, and I feel like it's super important just to remind you how valuable you are and why it might take longer to find the man of your dreams or the partner of your dreams. If you guys have any videos or suggestions that you want to see in the future, feel free to leave them in the comment box, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.